Theme with Tracy Lee, of course, was a really big record, and um, of course, it has the sound effects like with the scratching and stuff. But it was also another Howard connection and all these different things. But it also was right around the time, gangster rap was so big, but that was one of those fun records at the time that kind of showed that, as we all know from growing up, rap was fun and rap did have this other element still, and it was always popular. It was just coming in and out. But so for you as a producer and as somebody that, helped make this song, what did you feel or how did you react once you guys really made that beat, and what did you vision? What was the vision for it?
The vision is what you heard. Tracy Lee is also another Howardite. He came in '88, came in rapping. So we were like, okay, he's nice. So when we got on, my first reaction was, let me go back and get him. You know what I'm saying? They were working on, he had a little crew called RNF. It was him, the Reaps, One Step Beyond. Young Guru was running with them. Young Guru went to Howard with us too. So they got a little squad going on. And I'm working with Bad Boy. And Trey got all these hard records. His demo was just, the name of his group was L Rock and the Black Hoods. That was the name of his crew. I know Trey. I was on campus with Trey. The girls would be like, hi, Tracy. Hi, Trey. He had the braids, so I went up to him. I said, I think you need to keep your name Tracy Lee. And they hit me with the Spike Lee. Oh, he's trying to ruin us. Oh, he's trying to ruin us. I was like, I'm not trying to ruin you, but everybody calls him Tracy. His name is Tracy. That's his government name. It sounds hot. So they bit their teeth. They went with it. Then I handed him the hook. I said, now this is what I'm doing over here for these guys. This is about to come. I need you to get in the mix because you got everything else. You got all the K-Slave, Funkmaster Flex, hot with him. K-Slave wasn't out then, but the concept, you got all that hard. You got all that. I need to compete. We need to compete with what's about to happen over here because I got the inside word because I'm doing the music. Hypnotize is coming. Benjamin's is here. These records are coming. Feel So Goods and Been Around the World and what was that? Can't Hold Me Down. All this came out all at the same time. So handed Tracy the beat and the hook. All he had to do was write. And he killed it. We hadn't intended on putting it out right away. Universal was just getting started. They had Tracy, I think the guys, Hey Under the Barn, whatever their names were, Hey in the Middle of the Barn. Huh?
Crucial Conflict.
Crucial Conflict, and they had somebody else. That's all they had.
A+ probably.
Might have been A+ or McGruff or one of them type of.
Lost Boys. They had Lost Boys early, I think.
I don't know if they had them before Trey. I'm not really sure.
Oh, well, yeah. Around that time, though, yeah.
95, 96, we talking.
Yeah.
The Theme came out in 96.
Yep.
So they threw that shit out. Like, just threw it out. It wasn't even really mixed the way we wanted it. They just threw it out because for them, it was like, oh, we got one, let's go. So they threw it right out. So that's how that record came about. But it was given to Trey, like, we need this, Trey. Like, as a producer, as executive producer, Mark Pitts was signed to Mark Pitts. I was like, we need to compete. And that's that's how it came about.
It's interesting. I've had Tracy on Unique Access, thankfully. But the interesting thing about it, and the reason I asked from the production side, is it's a lot of the album is very dark and mid-tempo and like story-driven of street stuff and all that. And
that was his demo.
Yeah, he was.
His demo is the album.
Yeah,
we just made 3 or 4 new songs to brighten it up. So you're right. We had to give it some brightness. So the Nights Over Egypt record, that was new to give them some life. To Give It Up, Baby, that was new. The theme was new. The one me and Ron did, Big Willie Style, that was new. Because all that other shit, Trey, that was Trey's demo. We just mixed it.
Gotcha.
Because it was hard, he was spitting. So we didn't want to let that go. So I just, we as a group, we said, We just need to brighten it up a little bit. So you're right. You hit it right on the head.
Okay. And speaking of brighter, the other artist too around this time that I was always intrigued was working on the LL Phenomenon album.
Right.
The Hot, 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 and then Ron doing the title track and stuff with Puff.
Right.
But the thing with LL that always amazed me is his versatility, because not only existing in all the different eras from '85 on up till today, but then his ability to really excel at so many sounds and styles and different things. Um, so for the Phenomenon record, do you remember like working on Hot 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 or being around any of the other songs? Like what was his goal with that? Because he always seemed to change so much between albums of his style.
Well, first off, LL is my all-time favorite rapper for me, and he's also Ron Lawrence's.
He's the
So
best, in my opinion.
yeah,
He's
to
the,
me he should be the logo. Even though to me Jay-Z is number one now, but LL is he should be the logo because everybody that we see now is a what they call carbon copy of that guy. To me, that's my opinion. Um, and of course, he's Grandmaster Caz in a bigger way. You know what I'm saying? To me. So LL did Phenomenon. Ron didn't even Ron didn't like the way LL flowed on Phenomenon for the record. That was LL feeling like he wanted to do that. I actually liked it. But it stuck because it was different, it was versatile, and he dared to go there. That's what we loved about LL dares to go there, and he did. You know what I'm saying? Hot, hot, hot was more basic. That was a little bit more. He just, that was a record where just feel yourself. You know what I mean? But Phenomenon, he kind of took that upon himself to that texture of his tone of his voice. The not normally rapping that way. That was his thing. He did that. That was LL. So yes, that was a versatility, uh, a lesson in versatility for us. Like, oh, this guy knows what he's doing.
and that ties directly into the of this era with Tracy Lee and then LL and then Rakim and MC Light and these different things, because you got the Gamble and Huff experience, and now you're also working with artists that had been out and been huge in the mid to late '80s, and now it's basically 10 years later, 11 or 12 years later. How, from a producer songwriter standpoint, I wanted you to explain what you may have seen, if anything, but like the difference of how the MC Light's a little different because it was a remix, but the LLs and the Rakims versus the newer generation per se of the Tracy Lees and other people you were working with, how they approached making a song or how they looked at writing and how you had to then adjust as a producer based on that.
Well, the older artists that from the '80s into the '90s, they were used to getting produced. So what the transition for us wasn't hard. They're looking for the donation to the record from the producer. As you progress, artists slowly but surely at times started getting into the studio on their own without actually being produced. So Trey was one of them, in our era as well. Remember, I tell you Two Kings in a Cypher, as the '90s progressed, studios were popping up more. It was easy to get studio time, but it wasn't always somebody, a Marley Marl sitting in there with you, or Clark Kent sitting with you, or Teddy Riley sitting with you, or telling you no, yes, no, yes. So you kind of experiment a little bit. I don't know who was in the studio with EPMD, but they figured it out. You see what I'm saying? I don't know who was in the studio with the Tribe. I don't know if they had a credible producer in there from prior years that was saying this is how it should be, but they did a hell of a job. They did an incredible job. So as time goes on, the artists that needed production, we got with them. Then there was some artists when you get in the studio, they need to be produced, but they really just need, just a little turn left a little bit, just nudges. You know what I'm saying? Not just oh my God, write that over. We've had those experiences. Like oh no, like I've had some great legends that went into the studio and I mid verse like we're gonna have to start from scratch. You know what I'm saying? This is over. Muerto. You know what I mean? So yeah, I think as a producer, you have to be adaptability is important. Know your environment, know your personnel.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And in this 97 era, especially with the records that were coming out, to me is like the explosion of not only success, but then the volume of material that's being released. So for you, as you look back, what happened or what was different in 96, 97 that led for you personally to really explode to the way that you did with Tracy Lee, LL, Mace, Biggie, Puffy, Jay-Z, all this stuff?
Um, I'm feeling at the moment like I'm supposed to be here. Because one thing, I'm very humble, but one thing that was always said about me and Ron, from Two Kings of Cypher all the way up into these moments, is that we're nice. Like, y'all are nice. Like, but humility for both of us set in. So we weren't overtly just putting ourselves out there. But when I got in the room with any of them guys, that was my room. And that was my confidence that I had, that I know MCs, because I'm an MC. And if some of y'all can get in there, I might body some of them vocally. That's how I felt. So me showing them the best way was almost saying, I'm putting my face on their face and saying, I want the best record from myself now that I know how to do this. So sitting in the room with them guys was phenomenal. It was a great experience. But I felt like I belonged there. I felt like Ron belonged there. We belonged there. So me putting on that producer hat was super easy, because I always felt like options were the best thing. We don't have to go with my idea, but if we call it in the studio back then, when you A-B'd something, that means you play the A version and you play the B version. So I was like, let's have an A, B, and maybe even a C version. Let's have 2 or 3 choruses on something. Why not? Whatever the best one is, I could care less. Even if I wrote it and somebody else wrote something hotter, we going with the one that's hotter. That's just the way we wanted to approach records. And I think they felt that vibration. Any artist that came in the studio with us, they felt that vibration. The goal was not to outshine you. The goal was to enhance you, to help us make the best record possible.
And it clearly you did a great job of that.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And I also think it's amazing too, because like you were saying, the crew and having a team, it just always impressed me that whether it was with Ron or whoever it was, that there was that team element to what was being done. So how and why did that develop so well with Nashim, with Puff, with Ron, with all the different, Carlos, everybody that you guys were working with? What enabled it to be so magical for those few years when it was at its peak?
I think the magic came from the vision. I think the magic came from everybody's individuality had a dream. And Puff, in his infinite wisdom, was able to express a global vision that included everybody if you did your job. So if you're in a room with somebody who's a visionary and they're able to paint a picture for you, and in that picture you see yourself, and the person almost to a certain degree gives you a ending that may not be solidified, but based on their track record and what you actually see and hear and feel with your own, with your own senses, that goal is achievable. So now I'm in the room with guys like Chucky Thompson, Stevie J, Nasheem Myrick. I knew Nasheem through Howard. So I met Nasheem the same year I met Howard. Met Harv, but Nasheem didn't go to Howard. Or just like my friends from Brooklyn, people thought my friends from Brooklyn went to Howard because they were up there so much, because none of them went to college, and none of Harv's friends went to college, so they were coming. So I met all of them, and I got tight with Nasheem. Nasheem was actually Harv's DJ. So being around these guys and hearing all of their vibrations, their styles, none of us were alike. Not one of us. Me and Ron were already different. Nasheem is from another planet. You know, Stevie can play anything. Chucky can play anything. And so you got the five of us. That was the core. Then Nasheem, somehow, you know, that you got to ask him. But next thing we know, we're hearing tracks that are not his. And them shits are phenomenal. Oh, this is my partner. Y'all got to meet him. His name is Carlos Brody. Holy shit. He don't sound like nobody. He country as fuck. He nice as hell. Oh, my God. There's no sound we can't hit. There's no pocket we can't touch now. The other guys, they were like bonus coverage. J-Dub, Dent, Young Lord, Prestige. And then Mario Winans came later like Derek Jeter, like the rookie of the year. He comes in, you know, 30 home runs, 100 RBIs. Like, so there's no way you could be sitting in that room and not think you're part of the Yankees.
Right.
You got a Mariano Rivera. You got a Jeter. You got a Rodriguez. Everybody is an all-star in their own right. So if we got together, oh my God. So me, Nash, and Carlos used to go on beat sabbaticals because I loved them. We did 24 Hours to Live together, the three of us. We did Looking at Us for Black Rob. That was our vibrations together. Then me and Nash went off and went to upstate, or we went somewhere, just me and Nash on a beat sabbatical. So we end up doing 2 or 3 more songs together just because of that vibration. Then me and Mario and Stevie and, you know, so everybody, so the combinations was ill. And then sometimes we'd be in the studio, let's just say, and it'd be a beat and Puff, you know, and remember, like, for people out there, you know, all that bullshit about he don't make the beat. That's fine. He doesn't. You know, he doesn't actually make the beat. But he could probably make a better song than 99.9% of the guys who do make the beats, which is more important. You get what I'm saying?
It's back to the producer. That's what a producer does.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on Your TV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.